Hello? Do you even remember me? I'm so sorry that I have been so absent the past week or so, but my phone broke and my life has been so stressful and full of anxiety lately. And finally I got my phone back and I can be able to move on with my life. So it's such a relief and I'm ready to go back to my normal daily life again. I'm actually a little bit extra excited about this video because today I will talk about a new brand called Titanium Foxes. It's a brand based in France, which is in Europe, and that means that for us who are living in Europe, we don't need to pay custom fees or taxes, because who wants to pay custom fees? I received both of the palettes in PR to review for you and show them to you. And it has been such a long journey for me to get those palettes, because the owner did reach out to me already in November, December, and they did send one package in December and two packages in January, and none of them did show up. And finally one of the package did return to the owner, and then she did send it to me again, and I finally got it like a couple of weeks ago. I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, and I have been trying the palettes and I have my final thoughts about them. I know that this is irrelevant to you, but the fact that the owner tried to send me like 3 or 4 PR packages just indicates that they are really nice and kind-hearted, because I don't know any other brand that would give a creator so many chances. I'm just super grateful that she had the patience and just kept sending the packages until it finally got delivered. And if you have been watching my channel before, you know the concept I have here on my channel. I show you the looks I have been creating with the palettes, I show you the swatches, and then I tell you my final thoughts about the products. And one thing that I really like about this brand is the way they present themselves. They are writing like this on the website. Titanium Foxes is a reference to the expression silver foxes, graying souls, as we really would like to see more mature people be happy, splashing some sparkle, some vibrance, some saturation, some color on their face. And I just love that, because that means that no matter what age you are, you can do what you want and use color on your face. Fun never dies, and colors are for every soul from the time we enter the world until the moment we meet dark again. That's so poetic, and I just love that so much. Never let any social construction make you believe your access to colors and happiness has an expiration date. Yeah, I'm just so happy about reading those sentences, because that's all I'm about, and I hope that I will be similar when I'm aging, and yeah, it's just super inspiring and cool to me. Let's jump into the looks I've been creating with those palettes. And now time for some swatches. The thing that you have been waiting for, and maybe you will just close down the video after you have seen them. And that's okay. I love you anyway. Maybe not, but I would prefer if you stayed, but it's up to you. Please stay, please stay. And just for the fun of it, I will show you how you can layer some of the shades. Maybe it will give you some inspiration to layer the shades yourself. I'm actually proud to tell you that I have been using all of the shades in both palettes, so I have a good idea of how the shades performs. The way I used them was to use them row by row to make sure that I was able to use all the colors, but you can definitely use the colors however you want. After that I decided to mix and match the both palettes and use them in conjunction with each other, and that was an excellent idea because the colors really complement each other, and that's also something that the brand owner has had in mind when she created those color stories, because despite that the Poppy Storm palette is a lot darker, it still complements the Poppy Quiet palette. So the palettes contains 15 shades each, which I think is a pretty good number because you get a lot of variety and a lot of options. That's also something that the brand owner has been really good at when she sneak peeked the palettes, because she has been creating so many looks with the palettes, and it's so inspiring and cool to see because that's nothing that I have seen from a brand before. So let's start to talk about the Poppy Storm palette. First of all, the packaging is really stunning. It's really elegant and beautiful. The letters and the artwork on the palette is a little bit shiny, which I really love, but the background on the palette is matte black, which is really nice. On the back of the palette you can see the ingredients list, which is really good if you want to look up if you have any allergies or if you just are curious about the ingredients. And on the inside of the palette you can see the stunning layout. And what I really love about the Poppy Storm palette is that it has a very interesting layout when it comes to the colors. It's quite moody, dark and a little bit intimidating, I feel like. But it's still a good mix of neutrals and a good mix of darker shades and some lighter shades too, which is really good. It has a couple of duochromes, a couple of multichromes, and it has a couple of different formulas that I will go into soon. Poppy Storm has 6 different shimmers and it has a couple of different formulas. What I noticed when I started to use Poppy Storm is that it has a more satin, shimmery, metallic formula, and it also has a more flaky, thicker formula. Mainly the iridescent shade has this formula and the shade Welcomed Rain. It's a little bit thicker but it's very beautiful. It gives an interesting texture to the lids and it really is impactful and beautiful. Then we have this more smooth formula that is quite foiled and metallic looking, but it's still impactful and really nice. Because of the different textures, it gives a more interesting way when you mix them. I actually really enjoy that there is a couple of different textures because it gives you more options when you are trying to mix the shades, and that's really neat in my opinion. You can definitely use the shimmers without a glitter glue, but I recommend that you use a glitter glue, especially with those more textured shades, because it can be a little bit harder to apply them if you don't use a glitter glue. Then we have the mattes. They are pigmented but they are on the drier side, so if you have dry eyes I feel like it can be a little bit hard to pack them on the lids. What I'm trying to say is that they have quite a lot of kick up, at least when I have been using the palettes, and that's nothing that is an issue for me because I find that eyeshadows that has more kick up are usually more pigmented. That's something I have noticed during the years of using eyeshadow. But the reason that I mentioned that the eyeshadows are a little bit drier is because the first day I used the eyeshadows my lids were quite dry and I had some issues with using the eyeshadows on my lids. And I mean, it's hard to use eyeshadows overall on dry lids. If you find that you have dry eyes, maybe you need to moisture your eyelids a little bit more before you use those eyeshadows. This issue did suddenly disappear when my eyelids got back to normal and I didn't have any dry lids anymore. I have tried the same shades afterwards just to make sure that it was a me problem. My lids were too dry. I noticed that when my lids are normal I didn't have any issues with pigmentation or blending or whatsoever. When it comes to Poppy Quiet, the packaging is very similar to the Poppy Storm palette, but it's in white and has more lighter colors. It's really fancy. I really love how simple it is, but it's still very appealing to the eyes, and I just love the layout. It's really cute, it's very sleek and just looks so good in my opinion. Color story wise, it's a dream. I love this color story. It's so bright, it's so spring-like, but it still has those muted grungy tones that you know that I'm so obsessed with. I love to use those kinds of shades, and it also has super impactful iridescent shades that is just so dreamy, and I can't stop using them. I love to use them everywhere, on my eyes, on my nose, on my cheeks, on my lips, on my elbow. No, I'm just kidding, but you get the idea. They are just so pretty and impactful and shiny, and I have to be honest that iridescent shades doesn't really excite me anymore, but those ones actually does. And the shimmer formulas are similar as in the Poppy Storm palette. I find that some of the shades are a little bit drier, some of the shades are more textured and flaky, and some shades are just creamy and metallic. And I think that's a great mix of different formulas, because it's just so nice when you want to mix them together. The Poppy Quiet palette contains 7 shimmer shades, 3 iridescent shades and 4 normal shimmer or multichrome or duochromes or what you want to call it. It also contains a big variety of mattes, which I really like. So you have a lot of options here. Something that I really appreciate about the Poppy Quiet color story is that instead of having a matte black, it has a very dark brown, so it gives a little bit different vibes to look. And if you really need a black, you can just use Poppy Storm if you own that one too. And I think you all are wondering which palette do I prefer. And I don't know if it's just because of the season, or if it's because it's new, or if it's actually my real preference. But I think that Poppy Quiet is the winner for me, because it contains so many bright and beautiful colors. And yeah, I just love the layout, and it's just a very inspiring color story for me. But I am super inspired by Poppy Storm too. It contains those grungy tones that I really love, and it has some super stunning shimmers and all that. And I actually love to combine the two palettes together, so I think that Titanium Foxes has really done something great here. I'm literally sad that I need to put those palettes away for a while, because I need to try out some other new products, but I will definitely use those palettes very soon again, because they are just so nice and good and well curated. Another thing that I really appreciate about those palettes is that they are really fairly priced. For example, the Poppy Storm palette is priced at 49 and 80 euro, and the Poppy Quiet palette is priced at 57 and 80 euro. You can also get the palettes in a bundle for 99 and 90 euro. I mention everything in euros because that's where I live. I like that those are quite reasonable prices, especially for being in Europe. We have seen how brands are just raising their prices, and yeah, it's not a direction that we want to see in the indie community, right? Even though that I don't mind paying for quality makeup, I still feel like some of the brands are raising their prices just because of the sake of it. The brand is talking a lot about slow consumerism, and that means that they won't release palettes after palettes after palettes. And I think that's really nice, because that means that the people who doesn't want to buy every new release all the time have an option to save money for the palettes. Next release after Poppy Quiet will actually not be until fall or winter times. I'm super happy that I got the opportunity to try those palettes, and I literally can't wait to winter or fall when the next palette will release, because they are so inspiring and really fun to use, and overall great quality. Please let me know in the comments if you decide to get those palettes or one of them. Please consider to subscribe if you are into indie makeup or colorful makeup or crazy people like me. And see you soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye! Both of the palettes contains 15 in conjunction with I will show you the looks I have been using with the I will show you the looks I have been using, and it's a brand based in France, Europe based brand.